Promoters, here is a chance to boost your event or fete with MTV's irresistible television advertising specials. Book now and be wowed with party deals and good advertising coverage. Call our sales and marketing department on 440-8171 or via WhatsApp on 455-718. You can also send an email at mtvmarketinggd@gmail.com. Terms and conditions apply.
This Mother's Day, give your mom the gift of music, love, and excitement with Sunshine Promotions Night of Love Concert featuring the incredible Christopher Martin, Sanchez, and Vaughn. But that's not all. When you purchase your Night of Love ticket, you will automatically be entered into our Mother's Day sweepstakes, win a Samsung Galaxy smartphone, and more. Each week leading up to the event, we will be giving away fantastic prizes contributed by our event partners, including gift certificates, product vouchers, and service vouchers. And the best part, you can gift the prize to your amazing mother or keep it for yourself. But remember, you must have a Night of Love ticket to win. So what are you waiting for? Get your Night of Love ticket today and be automatically entered into our Mother's Day sweepstakes. Visit gotofed.com or any island-wide ticket outlet to purchase your tickets now. Terms and conditions apply.
CaribJet, the most experienced travel agency company in Grenada, serving our clients and businesses for over 40 years. IATA accredited, we issue tickets on 280 airlines, representatives for Condor, the German airlines, and main agents for Virgin, KLM and Air France. We're specialists to the Middle East. Walk in to our ticket office at Maurice Bishop Highway, call 439-4444, WhatsApp 534-7755 or visit caribjet.com.
It's Wednesday, the 19th of April, and this is the MTV News with the headlines in association with Courts Grenada Limited.
Happiness is when cooking isn't a chore. Bring happiness to your home. Get up to 30% off on selected items. Get it now, pay later. Whatever your happiness is, we can help. Court, bringing value home. Offer ends April 30th, 2023. Conditions apply.
Welcome back. Coming up in the news this Wednesday evening, business owners weigh in on bi-monthly salary payments to public officers. Sidewalk vendors calling for a change in activities at the St. George's Market if they are to operate there. 2 weeks of road closure in the south to accommodate rehabilitation work. And in sport, Spice Boys in prelims of CONCACAF 2023 Gold Cup. We'll have details to those and other stories coming up for you. A look to at the public forecast information. All when we return, stay with us.
The first segment of the MTV Evening News comes to you compliment Nexa Credit Union. With you wherever your road leads.
But when you need someone to help you to your feet, I'll be that beacon to your highest peak. I'll be right next to you, no, I will never leave. Come on, take my hands, we got everything we need. Cause you can look to me, yes, I can. Whenever you're in need, yes, you can. Just call on me and I'll be on my way. I'll be by your side, never to divide. The light that shines our way. Wherever you road leads, we'll make your dreams come true. Nexa, 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 right next to you.
Nexa Credit Union, with you wherever your road leads.
Good evening, I'm Tony Julian with the details. With government workers having received their first bi-monthly payments of salaries on the 15th of April, an initiative which is intended to improve cash flow and increase spending power, our news team visited the town of Grenville on Wednesday to hear firsthand from business owners their thoughts on the rollout of fortnightly payments and how the business climate will be affected in going forward.
The government has officially begun the payment of bi-monthly salaries to government workers. And our news team visited the town of Grenville to speak to business owners to get from them firsthand what they think about the rollout of the bi-monthly payment of salaries and how this is going to affect business going forward.
I was very glad when that step was taken because I spent about 40 years in the States and they pay bi-weekly. And that keeps business going. Because when you think about it, in 1 year time, for a person to get paid 12 times, how can he live by that? 12 times. If he's getting paid more regular then, things will go on, business will go on, schools, buses, everything will survive better.
Well, I don't believe it go, I believe it will be a good on business, you understand, because people, the money go float around more faster. And I believe that even for the people who collecting the money, it will be good for them too, because some people, when they have to wait till the end of the month, sometimes they borrow their money. I mean, the end of the month, they just to pay back with their money. So them go be able to budget the money better if they get the money a little faster. That's how I think about it. Yeah, well, what will come from this? Normally, on a month end, I just have a busy time on a month end. So with that happening now, I know twice a month, I can have a busy period. So they go benefit me in that kind of way. You understand? Yeah, so that's how I think about it.
From a business perspective, I believe the bi-monthly rollout of salaries is very timely. Of course, it leaves an opportunity for persons to have a greater spending power, but in all of that, it is very necessary for persons to budget as well. As relates to the businesses, it would create a better turnover, all right, and that of persons having the spending power. Right, and persons being able now to able to control the cash flow. You know, I believe that businesses will benefit through that rather than having to wait on a monthly basis. You know, persons have to wait before they do their shopping, but you have it every 2 weeks now, so it would be something that is a lot easier for persons to manage and for businesses to be able to grow in that extent.
I have no problem with it whatsoever, and I hope that it works. The most important thing is that people must realize, listen, it's not an extra salary. It's basically that your wages and your salary is split in two. And what they will have to do is to ensure that they manage their finances properly, whereby at the end of the month, they will be able to meet their financial commitment.
Reporting from the town of Grenville in St. Andrews, I am Troy Gill.
Sidewalk vending is now becoming unbearable for citizens and some vendors alike, a situation that has been ongoing for some years now. MTV News spoke with citizens and vendors on this issue who say government needs to crack down on sidewalk vending. However, according to them, first, the market needs to be cleaned out from gambling and other illegal activity.
Speaking to MTV News, one of the vendors explained that Fridays and Saturdays are normally the worst days to visit the town due to sidewalk vending.
You see, like on Friday and Saturdays, it does be kind of tough because when people have to pass, some of the people does be falling out in the drain, and that is not good. And most of them, some of them is agable people that falling because they don't have enough space like on the sidewalk. So it's best the government try to bring everybody back in the market. The St. George's market is a big enough market to hold all vendors. And if we keep staying on the sidewalk, you'll never get the vendors back in the market.
Another vendor who has been vending in the town of St. George for more than 40 years is calling on all vendors to sell in their designated space and not the sidewalks.
I would like for all, I'm talking about all the vendors on the street to come inside, followed by the people in the stadium. Because if you do look at it, the people in the stadium 95% of the people had their boot in the market. So if they come out from the stadium and they come back in the various destinations, that will be good. Now the people on the street, they have the table inside here and they leave and they go out on the street. And I come back on the table and good things happening for me. So if things happening good for me, things could also happen good for the other vendors on them on the street. Let all of them come inside.
The vendors believe if the market is managed effectively, law and order can prevail.
But you see, everybody wants to do their own thing. I don't just selling in the market. I'm selling in the market over 43 years. And I've seen that it was. This is the worst. I'm not afraid to say, to talk and say, look, blah, 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 and I don't know what's going on. This is the worst.
One taxi driver also shared his views on the issue.
Well, I see it as a problem, so especially the elderly. They have to use the road, and sometimes the ambulance hitting tourists and stuff like that. And I believe that they should be brought back into the market so that the government should find place in the market for everybody to sell, because I think it's not good to be on the sidewalk, especially for the tourist industry. It is causing problems in the tourism industry, and also we have vendors that normally would cost people as they walk on the sidewalk. I had many encounters with them where at least 2 or 3 of them would have cost me, because this is a taxi stand and they don't even want to give the taxi space to park. And I think the supermarket also have a major problems with them, because most times the supermarket manager comes out and speak to them, because some of them sells right on the supermarket door, which I think is obviously not a good practice for us here in Grenada.
Pedestrians and motorists are being encouraged to exercise care and attention when traveling the Maurice Bishop International Airport passenger pickup area to Concrete Strip Junction effective Friday, as the road will be closed for about 2 weeks to facilitate construction work. Let's get more in this report.
As part of the airport bypass road project undertaken by the China Harbour Engineering Company Limited, there are some expected traffic disruptions to commence soon. For the next 2 weeks, starting from Friday 21st April 2023, part of this road leading from the Maurice Bishop International Airport's pickup area to the Concrete Strip Junction will be closed for construction. This project officially commenced April 2022 and was scheduled to be undertaken in 2 phases. One part of the road has already been completed, and this is where vehicular traffic will be expected to pass. Motorists will now have to use this newly paved road leading from the American Monument up the hill to the Cuban Monument to get to their destination. Pedestrians and motorists alike are encouraged to exercise care and attention when traveling the route, particularly when work is in progress. Reporting for MTV News, I am Donella Hostin.
In this report from Nikita Hostin, members of the Royal Grenada Police Force Traffic Department are discussing traffic investigation procedures. Accidents in Grenada have become a routine event for most motorists daily, with over 400 accidents recorded for the year thus far.
Discussing accident procedures, the Constable Troy Paul of the Traffic Department highlighted the Traffic Department's protocol dealing with fatal accidents.
The public may have an interest, especially when a death occurs in an accident, and family members and persons are passionate about the outcome of that accident. And I believe that a proper investigation takes time. There is no need to rush an investigation.
Okay.
You gather all the evidence, you gather everything that you need.
According to Constable Paul, once an accident occurs, the investigations begin exactly when the call is made to the RGPF.
Because the information that you gather is very relevant in terms of how you go about and how you respond to the scene of that accident. So you would make sure that you take all the necessary equipment. If you have to make additional call for assistance, and you do so. But however, from the time you reach on the scene of an accident, There is something, some mnemonics we call COW.
Meaning?
And I'll start with C.
All
So the first thing you do, you check for casualties.
Constable Paul says observations from the officer on the scene of an accident is top priority when investigating an accident.
Because you have to submit a report at the end of the proceedings of everything that you did. So observation is key. So after you care for your injured, you gather your witness, you clear your obstruction. There's other things that the police officer would do. So if the vehicle, as I said, causing obstruction, you mark the position of the wheels and so forth. Yes. And after that, as I said, if, for example, you may have broken pipes, down electricity lines, you reach out to the relevant authorities, the relevant people who is responsible.
Utilities and so.
Very well. So you call out to NAWASA, let them know we have a broken pipe. You call out to Grand Lake. If it's damaged property, you try to reach out to whoever it is.
With the rise in accidents in the country, the RGPF Traffic Department is asking motorists to drive carefully on the public road and to abstain from drinking and driving. During the Easter weekend, close to 40 accidents were recorded, a concern for the RGPF.
Work at the site of the Seamoon Cultural Center in Pearl, St. Andrew has been put on hold, according to Minister for Mobilization, Implementation and Transformation, Andy Williams. However, following questions as to why the work was halted during Tuesday's sitting of the lower house, Minister Williams said that he does not believe that the project, which was started by the former NNP administration, will meet its primary objective.
We just set up with the Seamoon Cultural Center, and will give the notion that we, as a government now, have stopped economic activity because we have stopped the process. Mr. Speaker, the Seamoon Cultural Center was not a cultural center. It was a shell with a stage. And we are saying, if you have to be true to the people of Carriacou, Peter Martinique, and Grenada, you have to give them a cultural center, and that is why we stopped it. So we have to debunk all those nonsense, Mr. Speaker. And we have to be clear with the Grenadian people and be truthful. Because when you know the truth and you try to distort it to fool the people of Grenada, that is where, Mr. Speaker, I personally have an issue with.
However, MP for the area, Kate Lewis, refutes this claim, stating that the original design reflects the true nature of the project, which is intended not just for entertainment, but a cultural, sporting and educational facility as well.
I'm not sure if it's an orchestrated attempt to mislead the people, but what I do know, Mr. Speaker, is that the people of St. Andrew Northeast, together with the parish of St. Andrew, was invited by Barry's Engineering, who did the complete design for the cultural center, and they were able to give their input. So while these members are making accusations of what is not there, the people already know what has been there together with their input. So it is very important that I make this point, Mr. Speaker. What I think, one more point here, Mr. Speaker, I think the members are mixing up the first phase of the project instead of looking at the complete design. I'm not saying this for argument's sake. I just wanted to make that point. Thank you, Mr. Speaker.
All right, Mr. Honor.
That's the first segment of news. We'll be back with you after the break.
The first segment of the MTV Evening News came to you in association with Nexa Credit Union. With you wherever your road leads.
But when you need someone to help you to your feet, I'll be that beacon to your highest peak. I'll be right next to you, no, I will never leave. Come on, take my hands, we got everything we need. Cause you can look to me, yes, I can. Whenever you're in need, yes, you can. Just call on me and I'll be on my way. I'll be by your side, never to divide. The light that shines our way.
Nexa Credit Union, with you wherever your road leads.
With just $2, you can gift yourself with a chance to win the Lotto jackpot. Now, imagine winning the National Lotteries Authority jackpot of $68,000. Why pass up on this winning opportunity? Lotto, play and win a lot of money.
When a loved one passes on, we all need the comfort, support, and guidance of a trusted friend. You can rely on LaCour Brothers Funeral Home. We provide a personalized professional service that exceeds all expectations. Our dedicated staff responds to your every need with the greatest detail, ensuring affordability with a variety of options. Our upgraded state-of-the-art facilities, spacious air-conditioned chapel with live internet streaming, a modern, environmentally safe crematorium, the only of its kind on island, private viewing spaces, large on-site repast center, a modern transportation fleet. Join our burial society today and make personalized arrangements for that final moment. As you prepare to enter your loved one into eternal rest, visit or call LaCour Brothers Funeral Home and select a package that brings added comfort to the entire family. LaCour Brothers Funeral Home and Burial Society, continuing a tradition of excellence.
Grendek Community Partnership Initiative.
Leicester is the main fishing village in Carriacou, and we have lost a big part of the reef system around Carriacou over the years. The Grendek funding will target relocating by rock structures, and a lot of the reefs that we have lost we can replace. So I think we're really grateful and thankful to Grendek for coming through with that funding for us.
Grendek, energizing our community.
Welcome back to the Wednesday evening edition here on MTV. Over 50 farmers recently participated in a theoretical and practical training session in the use of farming tools and equipment, an initiative that's really intended to improve efficiency and to enhance productivity within the agricultural sector.
The Grenada Cooperative Nutmeg Association, the United Nations Development Programme, and the Climate Smart and Rural Enterprise Project facilitated a training for farmers and their workers on the use of small farming tools and equipment at the Deluxe Cinema Grenville on Wednesday. The General Manager at the GCNA is Roderick Sinclair.
The training here today is to advise them, the farmers, but also the workers, as to how is the best way to maintain those equipment, but also how to use it properly, the protective gears involved, the first aid strategies, but also how do you cut a tree, how do you cut a branch, how do you do it such that it wouldn't hurt you or hurt others, or even create more damage on the farm. But also the question is that came up today is, why is you may want to cut a tree? Do you really need to cut a tree? Do you really need to trim the tree? So sometimes all you really need to do is to trim the tree.
There will also be a practical session, he says.
Next week, Monday and Tuesday, at the Land Bank location in Grand Bacolet, through partnership with the Ministry of Agriculture, we would have the practical sessions. where the farmers would be able now to actually look at the equipment, hold it, use it, actually fall a branch, fall a tree, trim a tree, look at considerations involved in terms of which side to cut it, how deep to cut. And so we are very excited about that, because at the end of the day, this would also improve the productivity, involving a more skilled labor, and also the safety of our farmers, safety of our farm workers.
SIAP Extension Assistant attached to the Eastern District is Hortense Charles.
Today, Mr. Aaron Foto, who is the facilitator from UNDP, so he zeroed in on the use of the chainsaw. So he also spoke about the different parts of the chainsaw and the different felling techniques, right? The felling of trees and how to do it. He also emphasized on the use of the protective equipment while using these chainsaws, right? So it was a very informative session, because a lot of farmers, they do felling of trees, but they don't know the proper techniques as well as the proper gears to use when doing so.
Facilitator at the session was UNDP's Sustainable Land Management Specialist, Aidan Foto. For MTV News, Troy Gill.
Tuesday marked the launching of the Ecosystems Conservation Volunteer Program under the Grenada Sustainable Development Trust Fund Incorporated. This initiative really comes through a collaboration to execute and support the work already conducted on the marine environment throughout Grenada, while encouraging people to become environmental champions. We have more in this program on a report from Donella Hostin.
It is all about getting as many environmental champions on board as possible as the Grenada Sustainable Development Trust Fund, Inc. launched its Ecosystems Conservation Volunteer Program on Tuesday, April 18th. Speaking about the significance of having such involvement was Permanent Secretary at the Ministry of Climate Resilience, Environment and Renewable Energy, Marina Jessamy, who also represented the Board of Directors of the Grenada Sustainable Development Trust Fund, Inc.
And I think the key word is sustainable. Means the vision is beyond today. And our role is to ensure that we have financing to support biodiversity and conservation of our environment, not only for today, but for present and especially future generations. Alone we can do so little, together we can do so much. And the key word is together. Both as a member of the Board of Directors, as well as the Permanent Secretary in the Ministry for Climate Resilience, the Environment and Renewable Energy, I'm very much committed to this process.
According to PS Jessamy, everyone should be involved in this collective process.
And all of us are volunteers in our own capacity. You will become part of a network of professionals from various disciplines. And that is how you learn and grow together. Through volunteerism, you may find a new career path. While it is not with pay, it brings joy and happiness because it allows you to make a difference in your community, in your school, in your nation.
Also sharing remarks and speaking about the benefits of the program was Tanya Liu, Caribbean Biodiversity Fund's Conservation Finance Program Manager.
It's even more ambitious now, but that is something that countries like Grenada have actually committed to. So when we spoke about 20 by 20, when we discussed this with governments, one of the challenges, of course, is protecting or managing your resources, but with what resources? We do need technical and financial resources. The financial resources, that is where the CBF actually was born from.
Reporting for MTV News, I am Donella Hostin.
The Grenville Cooperative Credit Union Limited Grenville Branch Member and Customer Service Center has been moved to a new location. With this new initiative, members and potential members can look forward to receiving an enhanced personal experience in a more spacious and accommodating environment that will be on Seaton Brown Street. Among the services at the new location are opening of new accounts, account support, and loan information. General Manager Devon Charles says this is all part of the credit union's 4-year strategic plan.
Part of which involve enhancing our customer service, right? Especially as the credit unions have grown over the years. We have a number of members who have aged, and we believe that we have a responsibility to ensure that we continue to accommodate them, these persons, while we grow. So as part of the strategic focus, while we focus on technological advancement and innovation and expansion, which are some of the pillars within our strategic plan, we are also looking at rebranding and ensuring that we provide better accommodation for all our members.
Some members carrying out transactions at the new location are excited and are looking forward to better service and support from the financial institution.
I've been a member at this credit union for a number of years. Service, I would say, is quite a pleasant one, I would say. It should alleviate the problem we had with a lot of persons over at the next branch. The service was prompt. The efficiency is good, and I look forward to it being a pleasant one.
Yeah, I've been a member for the past 19 years. As a customer, I believe that it is convenient. It has been something long in the making by the management of the Grenville Cooperative Credit Union. I think the convenience to its members would be great. It would improve the services, especially the fact that it is going to be open at 7:30 to aid with people that have to commute to work and so on, or have to do transactions before their work hour, which is at 8.
I appreciate Grenville Credit Union. I appreciate Mr. Devon because I always freed credit. I didn't like that. But then God blessed me with a good man. And then he says, I had us to get a piece of land. And then he said, you know something? You got to go to the credit union.
This center is also another deliverable from ongoing efforts to improve member experience and ensure that the credit union continues to meet their evolving needs. The Children's Health Organization for Relief and Educational Services, CHORS, they're back in Grenada offering free cardiology clinics and other pediatric services for children. For today's HealthWise, we are speaking with pediatric cardiologist Hosea Teague and chairperson of CHORS Grenada, Dr. Beverly Nelson, as to the importance of continuing to provide these kinds of medical services for children here in Grenada.
So we have a very condensed team. There are 2 sonographers. These are the skilled individuals that perform the ultrasound examinations of the heart. I have a nurse practitioner with me who is very, very efficient in evaluating children. And then the extra member of the team this time is a computer specialist who is helping us with what becomes a year-round activity, which is the telemedicine clinic. So the overall incidence of having a child with congenital heart disease is about 1 out of every 100 births. For a country with a population the size of Grenada, that's 6-8 children each year that would be expected to have a procedure to repair their heart surgery or catheterization of sorts, without which they wouldn't survive. And yet we've been able to achieve that. So we're very proud of that.
Over the years, initially we were doing every subspecialty in pediatrics because none existed. So we're speaking of dentistry, orthopedics, neurology, cardiology, hematology, ENT. So many things were brought, specialists were brought via the same connections, meaning that they would canvass and find physicians who specialized in those areas of pediatric care and would bring them In those days, it was twice, even 3 times annually. And as we morphed and moved forward and new providers came in onto the Grenadian team, we were able to downsize the number of clinicians that we would bring to Grenada. Cardiology continues to be an issue, meaning that, yes, we have adult cardiologists, but we do not have pediatric cardiology in Grenada. There is a pediatric cardiologist in Trinidad, but of course that comes at a very high cost. And when you think of the population and in terms of, those persons that reside in poverty, you have to provide an alternate resource, and this is what CHORS is. So at this point in time, we are focused on cardiology, we continue to support ENT, and we have the Special Needs Project, which brings in occupational therapy, speech therapy, physiotherapy, and now we've added autism as a new link, which is turning out to be one of the big concerns that we now have in Grenada.
That's the second segment of news. Regional highlights are coming up.
Do you know, when you play the games of the National Lotteries Authority, you are supporting sports, culture, and nation building in Grenada, Carriacou, and Petit-Martinique?
Hi, I am Junior Murray, cricket coach, sports enthusiast, and a former West Indies cricketer. I endorse the games of the NLA 100%. For the past 40 years, the NLA has been funding many sporting activities, including competition for schools and clubs, and for athletes to participate in overseas tournaments such as the Carifta Games and the regional cricket tournaments. Additionally, they made it possible for you, the public, to view local, regional, and international tournaments from the comfort of your homes. For those reasons, I play the game of the NLA. Even if I do not win, I know Grenada always wins.
Yes, when you play all the games, the NLA in turn supports sports, culture, and nation-building activities throughout the Tri-Island state.
What you gonna do when the rain is coming down? Nothing more to do when there's no one else around. Bring it back to the middle, push, take it back to the rhythm. Keep it up for good when the sky's falling down. All you gotta do is to bring it to the ground. Hit it up to your inner move. Stop, start, down. Nobody can get what you're going through.
This Mother's Day, give your mom the gift of music, love, and excitement with Sunshine Promotions Night of Love Concert featuring the incredible Christopher Martin, Sanchez, and Vaughn. But that's not all. When you purchase your Night of Love ticket, you will automatically be entered into our Mother's Day sweepstakes, win a Samsung Galaxy smartphone, and more. Each week leading up to the event, we will be giving away fantastic prizes contributed by our event partners, including gift certificates, product vouchers, and service vouchers. And the best part, you can gift the prize to your amazing mother or keep it for yourself. But remember, you must have a Night of Love ticket to win. So what are you waiting for? Get your Night of Love ticket today and be automatically entered into our Mother's Day sweepstakes. Visit GoToFed.com or any island-wide ticket outlet to purchase your tickets now. Terms and conditions apply.
At Bailey's Funeral Home, we understand the pain and grief you experience when you suffer the loss of a loved one. For years, we have helped thousands of families get through that difficult time by providing professional funeral services to meet their unique needs. Whether your choice is cremation or burial, call us or come into our new facility on the Carenage and meet with our arrangers in a spacious and comfortable environment. Choose from a wide variety of quality coffins and caskets at prices from as low as $1,900. At Bailey's Funeral Home, we believe that no one should feel overwhelmed or anxious about funeral expenses. So when it's time to plan a funeral, join a burial society, or make pre-arrangements when service and costs matter. Call Bailey's Funeral Home at 440-2558 or visit us at baileysfuneralhome.org. Bailey's Funeral Home, still providing the perfect tribute any family can afford.
The third segment of MTV News is brought to you in association with Ariza Credit Union. Your financial freedom, your future.
Transform your life with Ariza's suite of loan products. Own your own vehicle, education, land, or home, and anchor your roots. Start living the life you deserve by applying for an own your own loan at reduced interest rates. Simplify your life and consolidate all your debts by applying for a Simplify loan and open doors to new beginnings and explore more opportunities to shape your future. Call or send us a WhatsApp on 423-4987 or email us at loans@arizacu.com today to continue your journey towards financial freedom. Terms and conditions apply. Ariza Credit Union, your financial freedom, your future.
Welcome back. Let's now join Clifton James for this evening's regional roundup.
Good evening with tonight's MTV Regional Roundup. I am Clifton James. CARICOM leaders ended a two-day regional symposium on violence as a public health issue, declaring a war on guns to combat the illegal trade, which they said provides the weapons that contribute significantly to crime and violence in our region. In addition, the delegates attending the symposium, including academics, crime experts, police commissioners and religious and non-government organisations, said that they were alarmed by the epidemic of crime and violence in the Caribbean. In the declaration titled War on Guns, the regional leaders said they were also calling on the United States to join the Caribbean in our war on guns and urgently adopt and take action to stop the illegal exportation of firearms and ammunition into the Caribbean. The regional leaders have agreed to stand with Mexico on its legal action against US gun manufacturers and retailers and establish an entity under the CARICOM Implementing Agency for Crime and Security Impacts to assist in the containment of corruption and financial crimes, including money laundering and cybercrimes, through greater collaboration to harmonise related legislation and operational processes. Over in Guyana, a pastor from Essequibo accused of drugging and raping a church member in August 2022 was cleared of the charge by a magistrate in Anna Regina on Tuesday. More in this report.
61-year-old Colin Samuels, also known as Pastor Sammy, a pastor at the People's Restoration Ministries in Essequibo, was discharged after Magistrate Esther Sam upheld the no-case submission put forward by his attorney Bernardo Silva when the matter was called at the Anna Regina Magistrates Court. It was alleged that on April 2, 2022, at the People's Restoration Ministries Inc., Richmond Public Road, Essequibo, he engaged in sexual penetration with a woman without her consent. At his first court appearance, he was not required to plead to the indictable charge and was granted $150,000 bail. According to reports, the church member alleged that on April 2, 2022, Pastor Samuels gave her something to drink, after which she felt dizzy and requested to be taken home. Instead, she alleged that the pastor raped her. She thereafter filed a police report which led to Samuels being arrested and prosecuted. Samuels' lawyer in his no-case submission stated that the prosecution failed to provide sufficient evidence against his client. Hence, the magistrate discharged the matter and told Samuels he was free to go. Tiana Ko reporting for the HGP Nightly News.
The Barbados government says it will make a maximum cash offer of 75,000 Bajan dollars to former Barbadian workers of the cash-strapped regional airline Liat, even as it acknowledged that it has no legal obligation to settle any indebtedness to them. Director of Finance and Economic Affairs Ian Carrington in a statement said that to date some workers have received 2 monetary gifts and a loan from government. He noted that in calculating the government's ex gratia offer, the loan and other payments already received, not including gifts, will be deducted from the offer. Carrington said he would be reaching out to the Ministry of Tourism and International Transport to have the meeting with the former airline workers to have the payments done by the end of this month. That was your look around the region. I am Clifton James.
This is the MTV Evening News. We'll be back with you after the break.
The third segment of MTV News was brought to you in association with Arise Credit Union. Your financial freedom, your future.
Transform your life with Arise's suite of loan products. Own your own vehicle, education, land, or home, and anchor your roots. Start living the life you deserve by applying for an Own Your Own loan at reduced interest rates. Simplify your life and consolidate all your debts by applying for a Simplify loan and open doors to new beginnings and explore more opportunities to shape your future. Call or send us a WhatsApp on 423-4987 or email us at loans@arisecu.com today to continue your journey towards financial freedom. Terms and conditions apply. Arise Credit Union. Your financial freedom. Your future.
You're watching the MTV Evening News. Sporting highlights are next.
The NLA is giving you more chances to multiply your Playway winnings by adding Multi-X to your regular Playway bets to win up to 5 times more. Imagine winning as much as $1,200 instead of $240 with a $10 Playway bet by simply adding Multi-X. Place your Playway bets from $1 to $10 or in increments on your favorite Playway symbols or numbers. Then add the Multi-X option at the same value to win 2 times, 3 times, 5 times more, or free plays. With Multi-X, you must bet the same amount wagered on your regular Playway bets for your winnings to be multiplied. Grenadians, value your dreams and win your way as much as 5 times more with Multi-X added to Playway and watch your money grow. Must be 18 years or older to play. NLA, making your dreams come true.
Boyo, they gonna fly with kite now. The wind picking up.
I'm coming. Karim, what you doing?
Fly my kite.
Yeah, but not here. You can't fly kite near power lines, boy.
Why not? The wind good.
Because mommy say kite threads conduct electricity.
Yeah, kite. He's right. If your kite gets stuck in power lines, you can cause power outages, or even worse, it can get shocked.
Come, let's go and fly them in the pasture.
Yeah, that makes sense.
Grenlink, energizing our Grenada.
This Mother's Day, give your mom the gift of music, love, and excitement with Sunshine Promotions Night of Love Concert featuring the incredible Christopher Martin, Sanchez, and Vaughn. But that's not all. When you purchase your Night of Love ticket, you will automatically be entered into our Mother's Day sweepstakes, win a Samsung Galaxy smartphone, and more. Each week leading up to the event, we will be giving away fantastic prizes contributed by our event partners, including gift certificates, product vouchers, and service vouchers. And the best part, you can gift the prize to your amazing mother or keep it for yourself. But remember, you must have a Night of Love ticket to win. So what are you waiting for? Get your Night of Love ticket today and be automatically entered into our Mother's Day sweepstakes. Visit GoToFed.com or any island-wide ticket outlet to purchase your tickets now. Terms and conditions apply.
Happiness is when cooking isn't a chore. Bring happiness to your home. Get up to 30% off on selected items. Get it now, pay later. Whatever your happiness is, we can help. Court, bringing value home. Offer ends April 30th, 2023. Conditions apply.
Spice Boys in prelims of CONCACAF 2023 Gold Cup. That highlight and more coming up in our sporting segment.
The MTV Evening Sports is brought to you in association with Courts, bringing value home.
What you gonna do when the rain is coming down? Nothing more to do when there's no one else around. Bring it back to the middle, push, take it back to the rhythm. Keep it up for good when the sky's falling down. All you gotta do is to bring it to the ground. Speed it up to your inner move. Stop, start, down. Nobody can get what you're going through.
A special evening to you now, sporting fans. Here's Donella Houston with your highlights.
Good evening, sporting fans. Grenada draws Guyana in the 2023 CONCACAF Gold Cup prelims. Once victorious, Grenada will face the winner of the Trinidad versus Guadeloupe match for a place in the 2023 CONCACAF Gold Cup group stage. The 2023 Gold Cup group stage action will take place between June 24th and July 4th and will feature 16 nations divided into 4 groups of 4. The senior men's national team head coach Anthony Nixon Modeste represented the Grenada Football Association at the 2023 CONCACAF Gold Cup prelims official draw at Sophie Stadium in Inglewood, California. The 17th edition of the Gold Cup is scheduled to take place from June 16th to July 16th in the USA. Though finishing at the bottom of Group D, El Salvador, USA, Grenada, in League A of the CONCACAF Nations League, Grenada has a chance to qualify for its 4th Gold Cup in the prelims. The prelims draw is based on the CONCACAF men's national team's ranking as of March 31st, 2023. Grenada falls into the round 1 matchups in which 6 of the highest ranked teams will be matched with 6 of the lowest ranked teams. During the launch of the Sandals Under-15 Boys Tournament on Tuesday at the Grenada Football Association's conference room, President of the Grenada Football Association, Dwayne Gill, highlighted some of the upcoming tournaments that will be starting soon.
We start off with the U15 competition this week, but right after that we have our girls U14, which is going to kick off very soon. That's going to be a parish competition. Then we have our girls U17, which also going to kick off soon, sometime in May. And then we have our women's league, our national women's league. All these competition is going to be for a period of about 6 months. So we have every competition going to have at least 6 months of football. And then we have our national league, our national Premier League, which is going to kick off on May 28th. And then the other competitions, the knockout competitions, etc., are going to follow directly after. But it's a very exciting time for football in Grenada, especially youth football. We'll ensure that our kids get multiple opportunities to play. And the more they play, we know the more they're going to develop.
Now we give you the results of the playoffs for Tuesday, 18th April in the Grenada Football Association Conference League. Sunsetters FC defeated Happy Hill FC 3-2. St. Andrew Football League defeated Grenada Boys Secondary School 3-1. St. David's FC defeated the Royal Grenada Police Force 4-3. And Shamrock SC defeated Fontenoy United 3-0. Now we move to netball with results from Tuesday's Classic Lighting Caribbean National Netball Tournament games played at Tantine Netball Facility. In Game 1 in B Division, St. Joseph's Convent played Police Sports Club. At the start of the game, both teams looked balanced in terms of the players' skills and abilities. At the end of the first quarter, both teams were 4 goals each. Second quarter ended with the score being 9-8 in favor of the St. Joseph's Convent. At the end of the third quarter, both teams were tied up again, 15 goals each. And at the end of the final whistle, The score was 22 goals to 18 in favor of the St. Joseph's Convent. In Game 2 in the A Division, St. Joseph's Convent played Police Sports Club. The SJC team led the first quarter 11 goals to 7. At the end of the second quarter, the SJC girls went away leading 21 to 12 against the police team. The third quarter ended 31 to 18, with SJC still maintaining the lead. At the end of the final whistle, the score was 41 to 26 in favor of the SJC A team. There will be no games on Thursday 20th, but games will continue on Saturday 22nd of April at the Tanti Netball Facility at 6:30 p.m. with Jet Setters male defending champion facing Top Strikers male. And that's it for this evening's sports. I am Donella Hostin.
Thank you, Donella, for the latest sporting highlights. And viewers, when we return, we'll have the public forecast information for you and then a recap of the main stories.
The MTV Evening Sports was brought to you in association with Quartz, bringing value home.
MTV Weather Report comes to you in association with Grenlec, energizing our Grenada.
Our future is promising. We are strong. Together, we are Grenada.
Good Wednesday evening, viewers, and once again with the nighttime weather forecast, I'm meteorologist Dwayne Williams. Dry, sunny, and windy conditions again prevail throughout Eastern Caribbean, and we're not going to see much change from that in a while. The haze still remains to the south. It has eased a bit, and we'll continue to see it easing into the weekend. So there's nothing much wrong at the moment. A bit of clouds over Trinidad did bring one or two sprinkles there during the daytime. If you're coming closer, we can see that area of cloudiness that's going to bring some showers there to Trinidad. Could result in a slight increase in cloudiness here, mostly over the southern part of the island, but it shouldn't really change our current conditions that much. We still are monitoring a small area, mostly low-level clouds, not much moisture in it. Upper-level winds are also not favorable for this to continue. Most likely it could break up, but if it does move into our area, we could see an increase in cloudiness by the weekend and some very brief showers. Tonight, however, Wednesday night, we expect cool conditions. Easterly winds 10 to 20 miles per hour. Minimum temperature around 20% chance of some very brief localized showers. The moon is going to rise in the morning at 6:51 and set tomorrow evening at 7:51. Mostly sunny and again windy conditions on Thursday. Easterly winds between 12 and 24 with possible higher gusts. We would see the winds easing into the weekend, however, so by Saturday into Sunday, the wind should die down a bit. Seas will be moderate to slightly choppy, 4 to 6 foot waves, sunrise 5:52. Sunset 6:19, temperature will climb to 32 and feel more like 34. 1 or 2 isolated showers in Port of Spain, but sunshine in Bridgetown. A little bit of clouds in Kingston, but it will be mostly fair. Partly cloudy in both Miami and New York. London should see afternoon showers. Back here at home, there still is a chance that we could see that increase in cloudiness on Friday. Maybe into Saturday it would continue, but a 30% chance of the brief sprinkle at that time, but then conditions will return to being generally fair and mostly fair by the middle of next week. Temperatures in that 31-32 range in the daytime, in the nighttime more around 24. That's it for me for Wednesday night, folks. Have yourself a great night. Remember, you can join me again on Thursday.
MTV Weather Report was brought to you in association with Grenlec, energizing our Grenada.
And now to end the news, a recap of the headlines. Business owners are weighing in on bi-monthly salary payments to public officers. Sidewalk vendors are calling for a change in activities of the St. George's Market if they're to operate there. 2 weeks of road closure in the south to accommodate rehabilitation work. And in sport, Spice Boys in prelims of CONCACAF 2023 Gold Cup. We've had details to those and other stories, a look to at the public forecast information. And so now, on behalf of the news and production departments, I'm Tony Julian. We thank you for watching and wish you a good night.
At Bailey's Funeral Home, we understand the pain and grief you experience when you suffer the loss of a loved one. For years, we have helped thousands of families get through that difficult time by providing professional funeral services to meet their unique needs. Whether your choice is cremation or burial, call us or come into our new facility on the Carenage and meet with our arrangers in a spacious and comfortable environment. Choose from a wide variety of quality coffins and caskets at prices from as low as $1,900. At Bailey's Funeral Home, we believe that no one should feel overwhelmed or anxious about funeral expenses. So when it's time to plan a funeral, join a burial society, or make pre-arrangements when service and costs matter, call Bailey's Funeral Home at 440-2558 or visit us at baileysfuneralhome.org. Bailey's Funeral Home, still providing the perfect tribute any family can afford.
Darren Tyrrell Jude Kurt Edghill, also known as D Block, of Grand Mall St. George, who resided in Wallisburg and Walpole Island, Ontario, Canada, transitioned on Sunday 3 April 2022 at the age of 33. He was the son of Tessa and Brian Gittins and Dexter Sylvester, grandson of Edith Phillip, godson of Primrose George and John Edwards, husband of Alishani Longboot Edghill, son-in-law of Dexter Blackbird and Rhonda Longboot, father of Davion, Janaya, Caton and Jamedi, brother of Tyrese, Jalen and Anaya Gittins, Peter, Darren and Amara Sylvester, Dylan Paul and Phil Henderson, uncle of Valencia Gittins, nephew of Sebastian Bunton and Berna Edghill, Crispin and Cheryl Edghill, Deborah Patrick Edghill, Martin Gittins, Wade Phillip, Beverly and Colin Castell, Myrna and Bernard Joseph, Eric Andrew, Nathalie Richardson, Vivian J.R., and Kester Sylvester. Many other relatives and friends in Canada, the United States, Trinidad, and Grenada. The Gittins, Nicholas, Charles, Edghill, Pascal, Douglas, Griffith, Goddard, Sylvester, Modeste, Clark, Ato, Williams, Blackbird, Andrew, Toussaint, Nicholas and Oliver families, and the pastor and members of the Seventh-day Adventist Church in Canada. The celebration of the life of the late Darren Tyrrell Jude Kurt Edghill, also known as D Block, of Grand Mall St. George, who resided in Wallisburg and Walpole Island, Ontario, Canada, will take place on Thursday, April 20th at 5 p.m. Service will be held at the Grand Mall Seventh-day Adventist Church. Funeral arrangements entrusted to Bailey's Funeral Home. Dane Bartholomew Hayes, also known as Ashton and Tallboy, of Caliste St. George, a former employee of the Grand Anse Food Fair and the St. George's University School of Medicine, passed away on Saturday 25th March 2023 at the age of 60. Left to mourn are his sisters Glenda, Marcel and Marcia in Grenada, Denise and Jacinta in the USA, brother Chiron in the USA, son John Hayes in the US, many nephews and nieces including Larry Roberts, Brensley Thompson, Dr. Sean Charles, Audie and Jerry Hayes, Diane, Cindy and Daniel John, sister and brother-in-law Joy Thompson and Rob Williams in the USA. Other relatives and friends including the Hayes family of Pedmotar, the Dubiset family of Caliste and Grand Aunts, the Bell family of Woburn, the Christopher family of Concord, members of the Caliste Berean Bible Church, the staff of the Grand Aunts Food Fair, the doctors and nurses of the male surgical ward at the General Hospital, the boys by Anicetta's shop, and friends and neighbors of Caliste and surrounding areas. The funeral of the late Dane Bartholomew Hayes, also known as Ashton and Tallboy, of Caliste St. George, will take place on Thursday, April 20th at 1 p.m. Funeral service will be held at the Grand Aunts Baptist Church, Morris Bishop Highway, according to Berean rites, followed by private interment. Funeral arrangements entrusted to Bailey's Funeral Home. Edwards Chase, also known as Robinson Redhead, Zip and Barber, of Grenvilleville, who resided at Beauséjour St. George, passed away on Sunday 19th March 2023 at the age of 78. He was the husband of Nestor McQueen Chase, father of Marvelyn James, Michael, David, Peter and Suzanne Charles, Rokim, Ian, Indra, Fiona, Terina, Emond, Shamal and Raquel McQueen, brother of Alistair Chase, Joycelyn, Dennis, Frankie and Fitzroy Augustine, grandfather of 32 including Marvin James, Jaquan Frank, Phoebe Charles, Delon Charles, Shakira Maitland, Jonathan and Tyrone McQueen, great-grandfather of Jaden James and Omari Joseph, uncle of 28 including Linton Chase, Errol Johnson, Elisha Mitchell, Georgie Redhead and Asa Chase, father-in-law of Arnott James, Stacey Charles, Pauline Redhead, Melissa McQueen and Miranda Gill. Many cousins, other relatives and close friends including Romeo and Twine, the Chase, Charles, Redhead, Johnson, Mitchell, Hilaire and McQueen families of Happy Hill, Beauséjour and Concord, the pastor and members of the Beauséjour's Seventh-day Adventist Church, and friends and neighbors of Beauséjour and surrounding areas. The funeral of the late Edwards Chase, also known as Robinson Redhead, Zip and Barber, of Grenvilleville, who resided at Beauséjour St. George, will take place on Thursday, April 20th at 1 p.m. Funeral service will be held at the Beauséjour Seventh-day Adventist Church, and interment will be at the Top Fence Cemetery, Happy Hill. Funeral arrangements entrusted to Lacqua Brothers Funeral Home. Magdalene Claire Charles, also known as Tanti Claire, of Bellevue St. George, a well-known market vendor, died on Sunday 26 March 2023 at the age of 82. Left to mourn are her two sons, Louis Spare in the USA, and James Edwards, also known as Major, an employee at Granlick. Brothers Fabian and George Charles in the UK, and Alban Charles in Grenada. Sister Juliana Charles in the USA. Several grandchildren in the US and Grenada, including Ian, Curlan, Kevin, Akim, Junior, Kenroll, Sornika, Anaya, Kiana, Kanisha, Rianne, Rihanna, and Shona. Many nieces and nephews, including the Marquez family of St. John. Caregiver Marilyn Edwards. Other relatives and friends, including neighbors and friends of Bellevue, Beaulieu, and surrounding areas, and market vendors of the St. George's Market. The funeral service for the late Magdalene Claire Charles, also known as Tanti Claire, of Bellevue St. George, will take place on Thursday, April 20th at 2 p.m. Funeral service will be held at the Our Lady Help of Christians RC Church, Beaulieu St. George, and entombment will be at the Beaulieu Cemetery. Funeral arrangements entrusted to Bailey's Funeral Home. Lincoln St. Bernard Williams, also known as Linky and Boots, of Hermitage St. Patrick, who resided at Frequenty and Fenton Village Grand Aunt St. George, retired Sergeant of Police and recipient of the Royal Victoria Medal, passed away on Saturday 25th March 2023 at the age of 76. He was the husband of Catherine Williams, also known as Glennis, father of Valerie and Winston Andrew, Carol Thomas, Lindy Ann Roberts, Betty and Marast Miller, Lisa Phillip, Ernie and Kimon Caliste, Kellen John, Lindonna Elcock, Devon Ganes, Linky and Linksia Edwards, and Nikita John Logan. Grandfather of 14, great-grandfather of 3, brother of Carmen Williams in the USA, Lynthia Williams, Cynthia and Veronica Williams in Canada, Denise and Rachel Mason in Grenada, Clary in the USA, Debbie Burke in Grenada, Carly and Randolph Williams and Martin Mason in Grenada, Cheryl and Avril and Johnny Mason in the USA. Father-in-law of Keisha Johnson, brother-in-law of 7, nephew of Agatha Dorset, also known as Cicely, Evadne Charles and Lennox Edgar, uncle of 114. Many other relatives and friends, including Veronica Thomas and family, the Mason family of Hermitage, the Williams family of Moya, the Edgar family of La Poterie, Pastor Ashley and Carmen Roberts, Leslie Knights and family, Danielle Searles and family, Mr. Mark, Bill, Man and Marky, Esther, Dawn, Miss Lynette, the Samuel family of Hermitage, Cradle Duncan, and friends and neighbours of Hermitage and Grand Aunt St. George. The funeral of the late Lincoln St. Bernard Williams, also known as Linky and Boots, of Hermitage St. Patrick, who resided at Frequenty and Fenton Village, Grand Aunt St. George, will take place on Thursday, April 20th at 12 noon. Funeral service will be held at the Springs Open Bible Church, and interment will be at the Grand Aunt Cemetery. Funeral arrangements entrusted to Lacqua Brothers Funeral Home. Estlin Harford Otway of St. James St. Andrew, who resided in Puerto Rico, passed away on Thursday, April 13th, 2023, at the age of 75. She was the daughter of Linda and Leonard Harford, also known as Mr. Dogan, mother of Zilla, June, Andrea, Jackie and Ernie Jr., all in the USA, grandmother of 7, great-grandmother of 2, sister of Sister Marjorie Harford Pariag, Patris Mavis Mahorn, Carol Mitchell, Richie, Roland and Cicely Harford in Grenada, Jean Carson and Joyce in the UK, Edith in Canada, Sharon, Nell and Alan in the USA, aunt of many including Kenny in the USA and Leslie and Roberts in Grenada. Other relatives and close friends in Grenada, Trinidad and abroad, including the Harford, Pariag, Chetram, Elahi and Dixon families, and friends and neighbours of St. James, Upper Capital and surrounding areas. The funeral service and interment of the late Estlin Harford Otway of St. James St. Andrew, who resided in Puerto Rico, will take place on Thursday, April 20th in San Juan, Puerto Rico. Arrangements entrusted to Lacqua Brothers Funeral Home. Gracelyn Samuel, also known as Samuel, Nursey and Graceau of Black Bay St. John, retired nursing assistant at the General Hospital, passed away on Tuesday, 28th March 2023 at the age of 60. She was the sister of Norma Cador in the USA, Estlin in Trinidad, Joyce and Deslin in Grenada, and John Paul James, niece of Phyllis Celestine, aunt of Claudine Cador, Venus, Tandy James Aline, Marissa James, Keziah, Aaron, Tito and Elon James, and William Langine, godmother of Jamal Paris and Candia, close friend of Cinti. Many other relatives and friends, including Dwayne Aline, the Honorable Clarice Modeste, Melissa, Preston Andrew, Monica Ferguson and family, Beverly Bertrand, Narissa, Chantel, Chad, Patrick Pradam, the Alexander family of Brazan, the Andrew family of Marigot and Grandroy, Rayanne, Paris and family, Andrew Alexis, the Modeste family of Victoria, the pastor and members of the Church of God of Prophecy, the nursing class of 1989, nurses and staff of the General Hospital, and friends and neighbours of Black Bay, Marigot, Concord and surrounding areas. The funeral of the late Gracelyn Samuel, also known as Samuel, Nursey and Graceau of Black Bay St. John will take place on Thursday, April 20th at 1 p.m. Funeral service will be held at the St. Matthew's Anglican Church, Black Bay St. John, according to Church of God of Prophecy rites, and interment will be at the Power Park Cemetery. Funeral arrangements entrusted to Lacqua Brothers Funeral Home. Elizabeth Monica Kwashi, also known as Monica of Brunswick, Carriacou, passed away on Friday, 7th April 2023, at the age of 70. She was the mother of Stanley, Leslie, Caslin, Marcia, Don, Kurt, Curtis, and Kerwin, grandmother of 50 Lady, Shania, Chaddy, Reese, Kent, KJ, Monique, Courtney, and Taffy, sister of Victoria McFarlane, also known as Fanny, Mary Phillip, also known as Vicky, Lynette, Louise, Val, Valerie, Maureen, David McFarlane, also known as Puello, and Michael. Aunt of many, too numerous to mention. Cousin of many, including Gila, Erlin, Bernadine, and Na. Niece of many, too numerous to mention. Many other relatives and close friends, including the Kwashi families, the Lawrence, Fleury, McFarlane, Caesar, Stanislaus, Jewett, and Michael families of St. Vincent, Patrick Cajot, Desir, Lisson, Tico, Winnie and Roy Delisle and family, Anne Humphrey, Kelly and Compton and Nurse Mendez, and friends and neighbours of Brunswick, Six Roads, Hillsborough, Prospect Hall and Monkroyal, Carriacou, Petite Martinique, and Grenada, the doctors, nurses, and staff of the Princess Royal Hospital and the Hillsborough and Leicester Health Clinics and surrounding areas, too numerous to mention. Ex-wife of Wilmoth Jewett, also known as Marley. The funeral of the late Elizabeth Monica Kwashi, also known as Monica, of Brunswick, Carriacou, will take place on Friday, 21st April at 1 p.m. Funeral service will be held at the graveside, according to Seventh-day Adventist rites, and interment will be at the Brunswick Cemetery. Funeral arrangements entrusted to Lacqua Brothers Funeral Home. Margaret Mapson of Bailey's Bacalet, who resided at Petite Bucaille and Stone Street, Westerhall, St. David, passed away on Thursday, March 16th, 2023, at the age of 75. She was the mother of Bernadette, Joan, Rosalind, Suzanne, Gary, Hayden, Dwayne and Jeffrey Mapson, and Gladys Horsford, sister of Joyce Tellisford and Septimus Gilbert, niece of Dorothy Charles, grandmother of 29, including Bernadine Edwards in the USA, Vernice Phillip, Emily Beaumont in England, and Alex Mapson, great-grandmother of 31, aunt of many, close cousin of Dion Francis and Shabba Francis, mother-in-law of Michael Horsford, great-in-law of Angus Edwards, Wayne Phillip, and Nisha Mapson. Many cousins, other relatives and close friends, including the Francis and Hippolyte families of Mango Hole, the Mapson family of Birchgrove, Seam Lewis and family, Elizabeth Barry, Irma Jacob, Mr. Herbert Simmons, the pastor and members of the Westerhall New Testament Church of God, the pastor and members of the Sanctuary of Praise Mary and St. George, and friends and neighbours of Stone Street and Petite Bucaille, Westerhall St. David, and surrounding areas. The funeral service for the late Margaret Mapson of Bailey's Bacalet, who resided at Petite Bucaille and Stone Street, Westerhall St. David, will take place on Monday, April 24th at 1 p.m. Funeral service will be held at the Lucas Street New Testament Church of God, and interment will be at the Wilberforce Cemetery. Funeral arrangements entrusted to Bailey's Funeral Home. Alma Atz of Lamode St. George passed away on Friday, 31st March 2023, at the age of 97. She was the mother of Janetta Nash née Atz, Noreen Daniels née Atz, Leroy, Lucius, Manuel, and Claudine Atz. Grandmother of 19, including Jennifer Atz, Derek Nash, Sabrina, Dwayne Daniels, Leo, Aaron Bovell, Louise, Shireen, and Kaylee. Great-grandmother of Nathan, Nora, Asaz, and Roma. Sister of Emo Primus. Aunt of Watson, Colin, Coney, Prosper, Prudencia, and Bernadette. Mother-in-law of Heather, Linda Atz, Desmond Daniels, and Joe Lewis. Caregivers, Teresa John, Dawn Smith, and Miranda. Many cousins, other relatives and close friends, including the Noel family, members of the Legion of Mary and members of the Beaulieu Roman Catholic Church, and friends and neighbors of Lamode and surrounding areas. The funeral service for the late Alma Atz of Lamode St. George will take place on Tuesday, 25th April at 1 p.m. Funeral service will be held at the Beaulieu Roman Catholic Church, and entombment will be at the Beaulieu Cemetery. Funeral arrangements entrusted to Lacqua Brothers Funeral Home.
Richard John Francis Cadu, also known as Maddop and Muff of Sapodilla Street, Grand Bacolet, St. Andrew, died on Thursday the 13th of April at the age of 57. He was the son of Ivy Cadu, stepson of Fred Alexander, brother of Steve, Alwyn, and Donald Cadu, Neil Nurse, Denise and Cindy Ann Cadu, and Zelika Nurse. Uncle of many other relatives and close friends, including the Cadu and Ulrich families, the Wilshire brothers, Deron Alexander, Charlene, and Tony Mitchell, friends and neighbors of Grand Bacolet, Mamacan, and surrounding areas. The funeral for the late Richard John Francis Cadu of Sapodilla Street, Grand Bacolet, St. Andrew, will be on Tuesday, the 25th of April at 2 o'clock. The funeral service will be at the St. Martin de Porres Catholic Church, Crowshoe, St. Andrew. Interment will be at the Churchyard Cemetery. Funeral arrangements have been entrusted to Lacqua Brothers Funeral Home. Andre Dexter Johnson, also known as Swanboy of Marianne St. George, died on Sunday the 9th of April at the age of 56. Left to cherish his memories are his siblings Jermaine Noel in Trinidad, Andy Iob Johnson in Grenada, and Claudia Carrington in the U.S. Children Andrea Ezel in the U.S., Ryan Batiste, and Desian Emery in Grenada. Grandchild Eichmann Batiste. Nieces and nephews Tiffany, Gina, Garvin in Trinidad, Andrel in Canada, Remy, Rohan, and Anisha in Grenada. Aunts Verna Noel and Lucy Noel. Uncle Eric Lacqua. Close friend Agatha Alexander. Cousins including the Bowen and Antoine families of Montgelou, the Noel family of Montmorris, Bernadette Gittens and family, Montgelou, the Gas family from Montgelou. Other relatives and friends including Timothy, Cecile Smith, Channa, Kingsley, Miss Grace, Damien, Cecile Charles, Lawrence Brown and family, the Batson family of Springs, the management and staff of SGU, Carib Breweries Grenada, and others too numerous to mention. The funeral for the late Andre Dexter Johnson, also known as Swanboy, will be held on Wednesday, the 26th of April at 2 o'clock. The funeral service will be at the St. Joseph's Catholic Church, Montgelou, St. George. Entombment will be at the Montgelou Cemetery. Funeral arrangements have been entrusted to Bailey's Funeral Home. Carl Wilson, director of the Point Celine Hotel, also known as Fox Inn of Springs, who resided in Point Celine, St. George, died on Tuesday, the 21st of March, at the age of 77. He was the father of Maria Wilson Bennett, grandfather of Nicholson and Joshua Bennett, adopted son of Eustace Weeks in the U.S., brother of Clive Baker in Canada, and Norma Wilson in the U.S. His caregivers Brenda Lee Antwine, Yolande and Tracy Mitchell, Dexter, Beverly Penny, Anisha David, Keitha, Nurse Daniel, and all the staff of the Point Celine Hotel. He was the uncle of Lynette Peters, Jeanette Ireland Amini, Kenneth, Arnott, Yvette, and Bundy Sharp, Maureen Ince, David Mitchell, Ian Wilson, Darren Sharp, Annick, Hugo, and Charlotte, Kenny Wilson, Sonia, and Alvin Marichaux, cousin of Catherine Celestine, Irva Joyce, Helen, and Sylvan Checkley, Spanny and Dunbar Wilson and family, Arlene Delves, Lacrette and family, the Checkley, Pilgrim, Delves, and Wilson families, Charlie and the Peters brothers, Mr. and Mrs. Joseph Nichols, Roll, Ricky, also known as Sugars, Wendy and Jennifer Lewis, Carmen and Kenneth St. Bernard, godfather of Alvin Banfield and Dorsey Alick in the U.S. Other relatives and close friends, including Randolph Saga Augustine and family, Mr. and Mrs. Wayne Davidson, Dr. and Mrs. Spencer Thomas, Ken Mitchell, Anthony Cox and family, Ashley Church and family, Kenneth General Rennie, Mr. and Mrs. Leroy Nichols and family, Troy Garvey and family, Cecil Cadet, Richards Gibbs, Jeremy Cummings, Rawson Tighty Boy Bullen, Gregory Whiskey Modest, Thomas Gay and family, George Andrew and all his friends in Carriacou, the Haynes family, Inspector and all local artists in Grenada, Trinidad and Jamaica, Pastor Royston Gilbert and family, pastors and members of the LCC Fellowship of Churches, friends and neighbors of Springs, Belmont, Woburn and Calais, friends from Miami, Trinidad and Tobago, Barbados, Orlando, New York, California, in the UK, and other friends too numerous to mention. The funeral service for the late Carl Wilson of Springs, who resided at Point Celine, St. George, will take place on Thursday, the 27th of April at 1:30. The funeral service will be at the Gateway Assembly, Point Celine, St. George. Interment will be at the Family Cemetery, Springs, on Friday, the 28th of April at 10 a.m. Funeral arrangements have been entrusted to Lacroix Brothers Funeral Home.
Rita Ruth Entwine, also known as Tara, of Williamson Road, who resided at Bedrock, Grandon, St. George, passed away on Saturday, 15th April 2023, at the age of 83. The funeral arrangements for the late Rita Ruth Entwine, also known as Tara, of Williamson Road, St. George's, who resided at Bedrock, Grandon, St. George, will be given in a subsequent broadcast. Funeral arrangements entrusted to Lacroix Brothers Funeral Home. Joseph Clark, also known as Joe, of Cherry Hill, St. George, who resided in the USA and Mount Granby, St. John, passed away on Monday, March 20th, 2023, at the age of 73. The funeral arrangements for the late Joseph Clark, also known as Joe, of Cherry Hill, St. George, who resided in the USA and at Mount Granby, St. John, will be given in a subsequent broadcast. Funeral arrangements entrusted to Lacroix Brothers Funeral Home. Willa Lessie of Molyneux, St. George, died on Wednesday, April 12, 2023, at the age of 84. The funeral arrangements for the late Willa Lessie of Molyneux, St. George, will be given in a subsequent broadcast. Funeral arrangements entrusted to Bailey's Funeral Home. Mary Maguire, also known as Elsa of New Hampshire, St. George, passed away on Saturday, April 8, 2023, at the age of 85. The funeral arrangements for the late Mary Maguire, also known as Elsa of New Hampshire, St. George, will be given in a subsequent broadcast. Funeral arrangements entrusted to Bailey's Funeral Home. Althea Muller, also known as Moy of Clergy, St. John, passed away on Tuesday, 11th April 2023, at the age of 72. The funeral arrangements for the late Althea Muller, also known as Moy of Clergy, St. John, will be given in a subsequent broadcast. Funeral arrangements entrusted to Lacroix Brothers Funeral Home.
Clinton Cosmos Alexander of Parade and Laborie, St. George, who resided in the United States of America, died on Sunday the 9th of April in the United States at the age of 88. Funeral arrangements for the late Clinton Cosmos Alexander will be given in a subsequent broadcast. Funeral arrangements have been entrusted to Bailey's Funeral Home. Talik Wilfana Laborde, also known as Wendy and Shortstuff of Trinidad, who resided in Montoux, St. George, died on Tuesday the 11th of April at the age of 33. We'll have funeral arrangements for the late Talik Wilfana Laborde of Trinidad, who resided in Montouche, St. George, in a subsequent broadcast. Funeral arrangements have been entrusted to Lacwa Brothers Funeral Home.
Abraham Rasher, also known as Satan of Grove St. John, passed away on Friday, 7th April 2023 at the age of 71. The funeral arrangements for the late Abraham Rasher, also known as Satan of Grove St. John, will be given in a subsequent broadcast. Funeral arrangements entrusted to Lacwa Brothers Funeral Home. Jadine Emmons Bartholomew of Happy Hill, who resided at Montparnasse St. George, owner of J&J Printers, passed away on Wednesday, April 5th, 2023, at the age of 36. The funeral arrangements for the late Jadine Emmons Bartholomew of Happy Hill, who resided at Montparnasse St. George, will be given in a subsequent broadcast. Funeral arrangements entrusted to Bailey's Funeral Home. Samuel Everard Holder of Marigot St. John passed away on Friday, 24th March 2023 at the age of 94. The funeral arrangements for the late Samuel Everard Holder of Marigot St. John will be given in a subsequent broadcast. Funeral arrangements entrusted to Lacwa Brothers Funeral Home. Eric George Williams of Woburn, who resided at River Road Housing Scheme, passed away on Saturday, 1st April 2023 at the age of 84. The funeral arrangements for the late Eric George Williams of Woburn, who resided at River Road Housing Scheme, St. George, will be given in a subsequent broadcast. Funeral arrangements entrusted to Lacwa Brothers Funeral Home. Madge Carmen Narayan, also known as Clary of Industry St. Mark, who resided at Montouche St. George, passed away on Monday, 27th March 2023 at the age of 54. The funeral arrangements for the late Madge Carmen Narayan, also known as Clary, of Industry St. Mark, who resided at Montouche St. George, will be given in a subsequent broadcast. Funeral arrangements entrusted to Bailey's Funeral Home. David Augustine Charles, also known as Cokes and Elliot, of Mamacan St. Andrew, passed away on Thursday, 23rd March 2023 at the age of 71. The funeral arrangements for the late David Augustine Charles, also known as Cokes and Elliot, of Mamacan St. Andrew, will be given in a subsequent broadcast. Funeral arrangements entrusted to Lacwa Brothers Funeral Home.
The family of the late Janice Norma Theodore née Park wish to honor her in remembrance on this second-year anniversary since her passing. Janice Theodore resided in both Canada and Montjaloux, Grenada, and died on the 19th of April 2021 at the age of 84. Janice was a beautiful, gentle, graceful, kind-spirited, God-loving woman who has left behind the most valuable and treasured legacy of exemplary selflessness, steadfast love, and compassion. She is fondly remembered and is deeply missed. Janice is survived by her loving husband, Christopher Theodore, her children Sharon Windsor and Wendy Purcell, granddaughter Lauren, sons-in-law Bruce Windsor and Wayne Purcell, stepdaughter Patricia Mackenzie in Trinidad, many nieces, nephews, and friends. O Lord, the God of mercies, grant unto the souls of thy servants this anniversary day, of whose burial we are keeping a place of solace, of peaceful rest, of glorious light, through Christ our Lord.
The management and staff of MTV extend deepest condolences to those of you whose loved ones have passed on. Thank you for watching.
And verse 13, blessed is the day that died in the Lord. If your loved one died in the Lord, you have nothing to worry about. You could be confident that that one is in a better place. But what about you who are left behind to mourn? What if you had been called? Were you ready? If you are not ready, you can be ready while you're alive. The word of God says it's appointed unto man once to die, but after this is the judgment.